it's Christelle, and this channel is long overdue for an update. I am now 37 years old. I had my open heart surgery 7 years ago. 7 years ago and 7 years and 2 months ago, to be exact. I have my little, here, heart EKG. And yeah, my scar, you can barely see it, which is, oh my gosh, you can barely see it, which is wild. It's all white. Well, you can kind of see it there. It's catching the light. I didn't post an update because now it's completely fine for me to talk about the surgery. So actually today I went back, I don't know, I was going down memory lane and I watched the videos back of, you know, when I was 30 and I was before having the surgery, and yeah, I don't know, I just kind of delved back into that period of my life again, and then today, so I have a support group if you want to join it. I opened it 7 years ago, I think, on Facebook, called PAPVR and ASD support group. I think that's what it's called. I'll put the link in the description. And then somebody today in the group was like, oh, you never posted an update video, so I was worried. I'm here. I posted an update like status under some of the videos, I think, but it's true that I never did a video. So I can give an update on how things are, how my life is. It's probably weird to look 7 years older now compared to the other videos if you're just watching the first ones just now. But okay, I'll start talking about my life now. Post-surgery, right? And for context, so I had, oh my God, how many did I have? I had 3 anomalous veins. So 2 of them were going in the right atrium instead of the left atrium. But one of them they couldn't fix because it's too dangerous, because it's attached to the SVC, the superior vena cava. So that one they didn't touch. So my heart, my shunt ratio now is between 1.3 and 1.5. And before the surgery it was 2.8. So that's what the last MRI said, that it was now a shunt of 1.3 to 1.5. Which is a heck of a big difference. But it's not 0, it's not 1. The shunt is not 1 because they left that small little anomalous vein. Most people are supposed to have 4 veins, right? I just have a 5th random one that's like on the superior vena cava. So I still have PAPVR, actually. I don't have ASD anymore because they closed the hole, right, between the 2 atriums at the top. But I still have the partial anomalous pulmonary vein. One of them. 2 of them were fixed. One of them's still there. And how am I today? I'm so good today. I'm better today than I was before. It's funny because there's symptoms that I didn't realize that I had, because you just live with like an anomalous heart, and anomalous, can I say that? Yeah, you live with a heart that's not standard for your whole life, so you just assume that, like, because you're always tired, that it's normal. You assume that because, like, I was dead last in my track and field and cross country teams, and a lot of people were like, why the hell are you running on these teams when you suck so bad? Like, the first 5K that I did, 5-kilometer race, I did it proudly in 36 minutes, and the girls were, you know, racing it at whatever it was, like 20, 22 minutes. I was not at all, but I felt like I was giving it my all, which is why I was staying on the team, right? And I was giving it my all. It's just that my heart was working 2.8 times harder than it should. Yeah, and now, Jesus, a couple years ago, I ran a 5K in 22:40. And a couple months ago, I ran a marathon. And I've been running half marathons, like, way faster in my late 30s than in my 20s. So clearly it has helped immensely with my fitness level. So much so that I'm actually a fitness coach now. I just got my diploma in December, whatever, a few months ago. And I'm now a Les Mills teacher too, body step, getting into RPM as well, spinning. And I mean, I always loved exercise, but now it's like I can exercise like a normal person, like, which is fun. And yeah, so physically I'm amazing. There's really nothing like weird about how I live my life now. Like I'm faster than before. I feel like I'm living a normal life. I'm oh my gosh, one of the things is I don't need sleep like I used to. Like I can sleep 8 hours and function. I can sleep 5 hours and function. Before, if I got less than 10 hours, that day was like, forget it. So I feel like my body needs a lot less time to recuperate from, like my heart was working so much harder. So now it doesn't have to do that anymore. And I need less sleep. Honestly, that's one of the biggest things that I noticed. I need a lot less sleep. So it's quite nice. What else? In terms of my physical health, I mean, I feel like I'm great. Yeah, there's, I have to, the surgeons had told me that I have to go get a heart test or whatever, like EKG and sonogram, I think that's what it's called, for the rest of my life every year. That's what the surgeons had told me. But a couple years ago, 3 years ago, I think, I was cleared to go every 2 years. So now I only go every 2 years for that. They told me that if I get pregnant again, that I would have to go just check like 2 or 3 times during my pregnancy, just as a precaution, but like that I'm fine getting pregnant again. Also, if you've been curious about this, like, so I got our daughter checked. She's 7. She got checked when she was 1.5, I think. They were like, don't bother checking her unless she gets a heart murmur. And a lot of kids get heart murmurs. So she got a heart murmur. She got checked. She didn't have like any kind of heart issues. I made sure to like go with like the pros of the pros because like they missed it on me when I was 17 years old. So she doesn't have a heart issue. The percentage chance that like your child will have a heart defect for the normal population is 1%. For people with defects like ours, it jumps up to 3%. So I'm not concerned about having another child in terms of like any heart deficiencies or heart defects, because it's still like an extremely low probability. But that's information I wanted to pass along. Also, another fun fact is that I learned that there's, at least in Switzerland, there's one person in every 42,500 people who have PAPVR. I can't remember if it's PAPVR and ASD, but usually PAPVR is associated to ASD. But yeah, that's in terms of like the rarity of it. And I can't remember if I said this in my other videos, so I'll just say it here again because it's like information that I like to share a lot. If your shunt ratio is, God, I hope I say this correctly now that like I'm put on the spot, but if your shunt ratio is under 1.5, generally it does not require surgery. This is like, don't take what I'm saying at face value, like check with your doctor. This is just like if you're still trying to gather information about like where you're at, because I remember 7 years ago there was not a lot of information about this online. If your shunt ratio is between 1.5 and 2, then it's a case-by-case basis whether or not you need surgery, and it depends like on your symptoms, on the size of your heart, like on how your day-to-day is. And then if your shunt ratio is 2 or higher, then generally surgery is the way to go. Mine was, as a reminder, 2.8, which was really high. My heart was huge, and to be honest, I'm shocked that I didn't have more symptoms. Like, my heart was ginormous, and I was like having to repump like all this oxygenated blood, like so much of it, that I'm shocked. I mean, I know that I was like so tired a lot of the time, but I just assumed that I was like lazy or something. Like, I didn't know. Like, I was energetic to begin with. Like, I have so much energy now. That's why I became a fitness coach. Like, I still do other things. Like, fitness coach is just like a third job for me. Why did I not update in 7 years? That's a good question. And there is an answer to it. It's not because anything went badly. Oh, and I can also talk about my rehab and how that went and stuff. Maybe I'll start with that. So, post-surgery was hard. Because, well, I want to get into the emotional stuff, but I'll get into that at the end, I think. Otherwise, I'm going to start crying, and I want to do that at the end. Surgery was, not surgery. Yeah, I'll talk about surgery after. But the recovery took the time that they said it would take. Honestly, it was hard because I had to stop breastfeeding my daughter. So I had to wean her off. Speaking of, she's here. I had to wean her off, so that was tough. I couldn't pick her up for definitely over a month. Definitely 6 weeks or so. I started getting back into running very slowly. Like, it literally just started with a 30-second jog. It was slow. It was very, very slow. I did not get to the level that I'm at now for years. 2 years, I would say. Yeah, it took a while. But it was also mental. Like, when you go through a trauma like that, this doesn't have to be your story, but for me, it took me a while to trust my heart again. And God, do I trust it now. Like, I have put it through insanity with, like, the fitness things that I'm doing, and I am so proud of what it can do. And seriously, like, yeah, after, like, the just long efforts, with running specifically, like, I feel so much gratitude that my heart can put up with this, and I completely trust it now. But basically, like, I was having trouble for the first year post-surgery, getting back into exercise, getting back into, like, the level that I was doing before, and also trusting my heart. So I am so grateful to my surgeon. I moved right after the surgery to Basel, Switzerland. I'm from Geneva, Switzerland originally, but I was living, and I got the surgery in Michigan, right? But right after the surgery, 6 weeks later, as soon as I could move, we moved to Basel, Switzerland. And over there, I was in a program called Karamba, and I was the only woman, and I was 31, so I actually started, so you can do this. I started heart rehab 1 year after surgery. You don't have to start it right away. Like, yes, please start it right away if you can, but don't feel like if you're a year late that you can't start it. At least I was covered for it still, so hopefully you could be too. Tried to start it right away. I wish I had started it right away. I didn't. But the reason that I started it is because, like, I missed racing, you know? Like, yeah, I was always shit at racing, and now I'm good at racing, but I missed feeling confident about racing and that kind of stuff. So, as I was saying, I was the only woman, and I was the only person there who was not there because everyone else who was there, they were all men in their, later life, 50, 60, excuse me, who had heart attacks. The majority of them were there for heart attacks, and none of them had a congenital heart defect. And we were all doing fitness classes together and learning how to be strong in our bodies again. And it was so life-changing. Really, it was life-changing for me to be able to run on a treadmill and then race on a treadmill and then exhaust myself on a treadmill with a medical team around me, because yeah, my heart was totally fine, and no, I wasn't gonna die, and no, I wasn't gonna have a heart attack, but in my head I was, right? And having the support system there, like, I literally asked them, I was like, if I keel over and die, will you reanimate me? And they're like, we have everything here to reanimate you, like, go do whatever you need to do. And having that security, safety, that I had a team there that would literally be able to reanimate me is what I needed to, like, get my confidence back and to physically get back into shape as well. I did that for, I can't remember. It was definitely at least 3 months. I can't remember how many months it was of rehab, but it changed everything. That changed the game. The reason I went to rehab actually is because I was running the 5K Basel race, Startlauf. It was at nighttime, around Christmas time, around November, I think. And my heart rate was like at 200, about 2 kilometers in.